We'll try and get the police's response on this and what's being done to the call by residents who say they're living in fear for their lives. Now, the Audit Service has written to Parliament explaining its inability to submit the 2019 Auditor General's report on time. They say this is due to the COVID-19 pandemic, despite provisions in the Constitution that the Audit Service has up to June to submit the 2019 report. The service has exceeded that by 4 months. The minority at a news conference claimed the delay is an attempt by the Akufo-Addo administration to cover up corruption. But Speaker of Parliament, Professor Michael Quay, told MPs the Auditor General has communicated to the House the delay is due to COVID-19.
Honourable members, for further information, I have received a letter from the Auditor General, which I will refer appropriately to the two leaders, which states that it reminds it refers to certain delays in submitting audited accounts to Parliament, which are the subject of some comments. It states in clear terms that the delay is not deliberate in any way whatsoever. With the arrival of the COVID, several institutions, including their office, were adversely affected as known to the public, and that the office will continue to fulfill its constitutional duties. Copies have been made available to the majority and minority leaders accordingly, and we will take note.
Let's speak to our parliamentary correspondent now, Joseph Opoku-Gakpo, on whether the minority is satisfied with this response. Hello, Joseph. What has the minority been saying about the Speaker's revelation?
It sounds that they are not exactly satisfied as far as the responses from the Speaker are concerned. You recall that this entire conversation began with a press conference led by the minority leader, Haruna Idrisu himself, at which he made a number of allegations, including claims that the decision by the President to order the Auditor General to actually go on leave is how come we are seeing this situation resulting, and that the government doesn't want its corrupt activities uncovered in the said 2019 Auditor General's report. The indication I'm getting from the minority is that the leadership is studying the said letter that had actually come from the Audit Service to the Parliament of Ghana, and that the leadership at the level of the minority will respond in due course. But the point they make is they don't see any specific timeline as far as when the Auditor General hopes to submit this particular report is concerned. And they're drawing attention to the fact that it wasn't exactly a specific letter that sought to address this concern coming up at a time before the said breach of the Constitution happened, as far as the timeline when the submission of this said report is supposed to be done. So they're raising all these questions and asking why the Audit Service didn't communicate this challenge before the breach of the said provisions in the Constitution, which is back in June and delayed in all of this. But the indication is that the leadership of the minority will be responding in due course, but they find these explanations coming in the letter in question very much unsatisfactory. All right, Joseph, quickly just tell us what to expect in Parliament today. It only resumed sitting yesterday. There are a number of things on the agenda that the House will be looking at, including some loan approvals that the Finance Committee chairman will be bringing reports on for the House to go ahead and approve. The House is also beginning work on various legislations that before the House. We are expecting that the report of the Finance Committee on the legislation having to do with anti-money laundering will also be coming to the House for the necessary approval. And it's expected that today being the main sitting day, right after a lot of the MPs went to file their nominations yesterday, a lot of them will be in the chamber today to get business done. Thank you very much. Joseph Opoku-Gakpo is our parliamentary correspondent.